If you live in the Buffalo area and you are pissed off about ICE, here's something you can do about it tonight. There are 6 police forces in the 716 who are collaborating with ICE. There will be more information about this at the end of the video, but it does appear that Cheektowaga is collaborating the hardest. They are the most enthusiastic collaborators at this time. Some real pick-me energy. But there is a group calling themselves Erie County Women United who have an idea of something they want to do about it. There is a Cheektowaga Town Council meeting tonight, January 13th. The meeting starts at 5:30 p.m. and it's at the Cheektowaga Town Hall, which is at 3301 Broadway. And Erie County Women United would like to try to pack the hall. So if you live, work, or shop in Cheektowaga, you are invited to come on down to the town hall meeting and let the Cheektowaga town government know how you feel about their collaboration with ICE. If you do not go to this town hall meeting, there are still things you can do. You can go follow Erie County Women United on IG. You can follow Miss Sunshine here on TikTok. She's involved with that group. And if you go to Women United's website, they have a list of email addresses of people on the town council there, and email those folks and let them know how you feel. There's even like an example template letter if you don't know what to say. You do not want your local police force colluding with ICE. In fact, local police forces are not supposed to be enforcing federal civil law at all. If you owe money to the federal government, the Buffalo Police Department don't come knocking at your door. The IRS does. If you built a windmill and you built it incorrectly, the Cheektowaga police do not come to your wind farm. The EPA does. In fact, in 2018, the New York State Supreme Court said that state and local police officers should not be enforcing immigration law at all. The 6 police forces in the Western New York area that are colluding with ICE right now have gone out of their way to do that. They were told not to do that by the New York State Supreme Court, but they're finding loopholes so that they can go out of their way and do it. City and state cops can get involved in immigration cases, but only in specific circumstances, where there is a specific crime committed at the municipal or state level that is tied to the immigration violation. But the 6 collaborator police forces are trying to find loopholes to insert themselves into immigration enforcement where they're not supposed to be. They're going out of their way to do it. It is not their job, but they've decided to do it anyway. City cops are not supposed to be enforcing immigration law because, number one, it's a waste of time, money, and resources. Immigration enforcement is supposed to come out of the federal government's budget. It's not supposed to come out of the town of Cheektowaga's budget. Second, state and local cops are not properly trained in how to handle immigration cases, and so they make mistakes. And mistakes make for cases that have weird technicalities and errors in them. And those cases are cases that are hard to win for the federal government and also a big waste of everybody's time in the court system. The third reason you don't want town and city cops involved in immigration enforcement is town and city cops are reliant on tips from the public and cooperation from the public in order to solve crime. And people who are victims of crime, but also have immigration paperwork that's fucked up, don't call the police. People who have information about crimes, but who have immigration paperwork that is fucked up, do not provide tips to the state and local cops. So go tell the Cheektowaga PD, sure, you can waste our tax dollars to do work that you were told not to do while doing a bad job of it and fucking up all of your relationship and reputation with the community, but no one's gonna be happy with you.
Dale joins me live. Great to have you here. So here in New York State, we have a state Supreme Court ruling that basically says local police agencies cannot participate in civil immigration enforcement. I think the argument here for these police agencies that are helping ICE, they would say it's the criminal side of it. But I want to start here with Cheektowaga Police because you really dug into this and found 21 migrants have been turned over to federal immigration agents after they were detained on low-level offenses, things like shoplifting. Why is this happening so much with Cheektowaga Police? And we'll talk about the others.
So it remains to be seen why Cheektowaga police are doing this so frequently. The really important thing to note here, based on what you kind of said in the intro here, is that the police are enforcing local and state criminal law. They are not enforcing federal law. And so these people who are getting caught up by Cheektowaga police, for example, they may have broken a state or local law, but they may not have violated federal criminal law at all. Maybe they have status, maybe they don't. The Attorney General has been pretty clear that that's not really a determination for local police to make. But what we found in our reporting is that these local police are in fact taking it upon themselves to ask questions about citizenship, to ask questions of whether somebody's in the country illegally, and then depending on their more or less untrained response to that, the response they get to those questions, and again, they're not immigration enforcement officers, they're then calling Border Patrol saying, we've got a suspicion that this person might be illegal. Border Patrol then says, we'll take it from here, because they're under the mandate from President Trump.
New York State Police, you have the Buffalo Police Department, the largest in our region. They're not doing any of this, but there are, as we mentioned, there are a half dozen or so agencies that are.
Yeah, so among them are the Erie County Sheriff's Office, the Niagara County Sheriff's Office, which went the extra step of getting a formal agreement with ICE. That's kind of one of the formal legal workarounds to this. They have an agreement in place where their officers can ask these questions. They can enforce civil and criminal federal immigration law, and they're detaining migrant women at the Lockport Jail. Other police agencies include Amherst, Tonawanda, North Tonawanda, Lewiston. Again, we haven't seen that Buffalo do that, and Mayor-elect Sean Ryan says it's just not the job of a local cop to enforce federal law. When we did an interview, he gave this analogy, which is if you don't pay your taxes, Buffalo cops aren't banging down your door to make you pay your IRS bill. He says same thing applies with ICE. If you are in this country illegally, that's not necessarily the Buffalo cops' job. Other departments take a different tack, and they say it is our job, in fact, to say, oh, this person speaks Spanish and they've got tattoos. We're going to assume they're illegal, and we're going to call Border Patrol.
What is the response when they're told, look, this is just about public safety, and that local police, if they believe someone is here and broke the law, that they should face consequences for it?
Well, the local cops are doing their jobs. They are in fact enforcing state and local criminal law. People are getting picked up at the mall, at Walmart for shoplifting, and they are being prosecuted for alleged shoplifting. They are, violating traffic laws and getting prosecuted for those offenses. The local cops are doing their job in that respect. The point here is that they're going an extra step, and they're then enforcing federal law where they don't really have the jurisdiction to do so. And while they're doing so, they're making mistakes. We interviewed one man who is a U.S. citizen who the cops suspected was an illegal immigrant. He wasn't. He was born in the Bronx. There's other people who have legal status or they have a pending asylum claim. We interviewed a father and son who ended up in ICE detention for a month. ICE let them go because they had a pending asylum case. Yet the cops took it upon themselves to call Border Patrol. They ended up in detention.